The following Dysfunctional Gaming podcast was filmed in front of a live Twitch audience.
What's happened? We're here again with some Dysfunctional's Gaming Talking D&D. I am Thundercat 0420. To my left, you have GM Patch Nasty.
Rage tweeting. Hello, how are you? Rage tweets!
How's everything going today?
It's Tuesday and it felt like Monday, so I'm confused and it doesn't take much. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm getting pretty excited about what we have coming October 1st.
What's happening at Oktoberfest?
We're going to be playing our very first live D&D game on Twitch TV / Dysfunctional Gaming TTV.
You said a lot of TV things there. So we're going to play D&D here on Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, we should be starting.
Okay. So you should be ready for D&D at 8:30, people in the chat. And if you're not, we'll be here at 9.
9 the latest, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just how Dysfunctional Gaming is. We say 8:30, but 9 o'clock's really what we mean.
That's why we should just say 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Fridays.
Fridays, starting October 1st. Our friend Vandal Zero will be DMing his first ever D&D game.
I'm going to put him through the ringer. No, I'm not.
But do what you need to do.
I honestly thought about it. I was like, no, he's a new DM and he's also going to be on Twitch, so I'm not going to fuck with him.
I'm going to be a completely buffer wizard. I have one offensive spell.
I am a Minotaur Peace Cleric. So, yes, I'm about that life. I'm very curious to see how he comes along, but I'm happy I have something that I can hit people on the knuckles when they step out of line. Be like, no.
Cool. What are we talking about this week?
We're talking about weapons in you. Choosing a weapon.
And
what it says for your character. What it says for how you do damage. How you deal with bad guys. How you intimidate, potentially.
Before we get into choosing a weapon, what did we talk about last week?
Large combat.
And where can we find all that stuff?
On the little thing that says Linktree next to our Twitter. Right here. It's right next to where it says amazing content that probably doesn't make sense. And then there's a little button. It's or exclamation mark links in the chat. But you can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Apple Podcasts. You can find it on the VODs here for probably another week if you're lucky. So you should probably subscribe to YouTube. Look for the squid. Look for the Dark Lord and Master for you great old one of Wardlocks.
Or just you very Cult of Cthulhu people too.
Or alumni of Miskatonic U. Go Squids.
Yeah, all you Arkham adventurers.
Yes, I'm glad you said Arkham Adventurers because I was like,
no, not Arkham, not Gotham.
Oh, okay. Arkham. Well, you said Arkham, so
no, not the asylum. Well,
all right, yeah, or the city.
Well, it is the city.
Well, Arkham isn't a city. Arkham is just a prison.
But I'm saying Arkham is a city.
We're getting off subject.
Yes. This week we're talking about choosing a weapon. Let's start off with like basic, simple weapons.
All right.
Let's figure out. We'll just start with the simple and move our way up to the more advanced.
So your first one is a club. It does a D4 worth of damage. I don't even have to look at the book, and I know it is. It is a simple weapon. It is a strength-only weapon, which gets me. And then you move up to your next D4 worth of damage, which would be your Dagger, which is a light finesse weapon, and it also has a thrown property, I believe, 2060, as he begins to search through there. So what light means is you can wield 2 of them. You can have 2 daggers or something else that is light in your offhand. And a finesse weapon is something that you can use your dexterity modifier for. So typically things that you would throw are a dex-based item, but finesse weapons, such as a dagger for a rogue or a dagger for a monk, is kind of a wombo combo because they can use their dex instead of their strength, depending on how they build their monk. I think that's all. No, you also, the D4, a whip is a martial weapon, so that doesn't count. Are there any other D4s on the simple weapons list?
The light hammer.
Darts. The hammer, the light hammer. A light weapon, not finesse. Thrown property, 2060.
Yes.
D4 worth of damage. It does bludgeoning damage. The dagger does piercing, and the club does bludgeoning damage.
You also have the sickle.
Yeah. Farmer's tool. Once again, does a D4. Light, not finesse, or is that one a finesse weapon?
Just light.
Just light. Okay, so not a finesse weapon. You cannot throw it.
You also have your darts and your sling, for your for your ranged weapons.
Yeah, the darts and the sling. The sling is more or less your wizards are really going to use. If wizards will use a sling or a monk will use a sling, but if a monk's throwing something, they're probably going to be throwing back whatever they were shot at. That, like if they got an arrow shot at them, an arrow is coming right back at the person who shot it. But monks work differently off of that table. But those, I think the what's the sling? Is it like 60 feet?
30 to 120.
30, 120. And then the
Because you can
dart
launch
is
a
20,
rock.
Mm-hmm.
You can just launch one and hope to hit something.
Accurately 20 feet or 30 feet.
30
60 feet is where you're pushing it. Yeah.
Yep. And then your dart is 2060 finesse and thrown. Because you can use a dart as a melee weapon.
Yep, you can stab somebody with a dart.
Now, would you allow a sling to be used as a melee weapon? I'd allow it one time.
Like a garrote?
Like, yeah, like swoop up and then the rock goes flying out after you knock the person with it.
Oh, I thought you were meant
No, I meant like swinging the rock around and someone comes up and you're like, instead of throwing it, you're like, nope, whack.
I would allow it. However, it falls down to you're using a ranged weapon and melee weapon range, so you're gonna be at disadvantage. So I'd allow it once at disadvantage, but
yeah,
you'd probably want to misty step away first before you do it. Just throwing that out there, realistically speaking. All right, we're on to the bigger dice, the Yahtzee dice. We're on our D6s, right?
Yeah, you got your hand axe, your javelin, mace, quarterstaff, and spear.
So, out of that list, I believe the mace is kind of mundane. Does a D6 worth of... A mace does a D6?
D6 bludgeoning.
No shit. So, the javelin you can throw, I believe the javelin is 30-60?
30-60, yes.
What else did you say? You said the spear, which has reach, which is a different property. It's a reach of 10 feet or 15?
No reach.
No reach, okay. So, never mind. You can throw a spear.
A spear is basically a javelin that can't go as far.
Yep.
But you could use it as a melee weapon.
Hand axe can be thrown 20-60, D6 worth of damage. That's slashing damage?
Yep.
The javelin and the javelin and the spear are piercing.
Yep.
And there was another one?
The last one would be the quarterstaff.
The quarterstaff. Quite possibly one of my favorite ones. This is where you get into that property. Versatile is either one hand or two hands. One-handed, it does a D6 worth of damage. If you throw your second hand on there, it does a D8 worth of damage.
And a spear is also versatile.
Correct.
Hello, Disto. I hope you're doing good. It's good to see you. Been a couple days.
Good to hear from you. Where's my chat?
Cool. Yeah. So those are we've gone through all the simple weapons. The one ranged weapon is the short bow that does D6.
That has silly range.
Ammunition,
it's
80 to 320. 80 regular, 320 disadvantage, and it's a two-handed weapon. You need two hands available to shoot it. And then finally, you have your great club that is 1d8 bludgeoning and is also a two-handed weapon. You need two hands
That's a
to
martial
wield
weapon.
it. Nope, a great club is a simple
Really?
melee. Yep.
Wow.
I think you're thinking of the flail.
Yes, I am. I am thinking of the flail.
And then
But everybody's like Crystal, Maybach,
Oh,
diamonds on
crap.
the timepiece, jet planes, islands, tigers on the gold leash. Randy
We
got a
don't
hot Randy
care.
Ray coming in. Well, he's caught up in a Toy Story affair.
he's caught up in a Toy Story affair.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Fuzzrap, thank you for that raid.
The hot raid 4. What up, Fuzz?
Disto, can we get a shout out for
He's already on top of it.
Oh yeah, we did. Okay, cool. I just saw it. I was watching the
Disto's on top
video.
of things.
I know, he's cruising. Thank you for that, Disto, and thank you for the raid, Fuzzrap. How was your stream, Witcher and Apex?
Yes, I started watching a little bit of The Witcher, and then I bumped into Apex. But yeah, so when we say 2060 or 3060 or 8150, so what that is the first number is your maximum distance. The first number is your accurate distance. So you can shoot a bow 80 feet before you have to be posed with disadvantage. And then the second number is your maximum distance. So the 150 that's as far as you're gonna get, which is still pretty far with a short bow.
It's
get
actually
into the crazy stuff later.
320.
Oh, it's 320. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's even crazier than you thought. The crossbow, which is a light crossbow, is also the last simple ranged weapon that does a D8 piercing. It also has an 80 to 320 range, and you need to load as a bonus action, and you have to use two hands to use it. So it's one of those things that takes a bonus action to load.
Mm-hmm.
Like a short bow, you would be able to pull your quiver out, so you wouldn't need to reload necessarily to use the bonus action to set your cross.
Bam.
Exactly. When you're setting a crossbow, you got to put your feet on it, pull it up, lock into position, add a new dart.
Oh, we're getting into the fun weapons now, aren't we?
So now we're moving into the martial melee weapons. These are the ones that do a lot more damage, and they're basically just heavier weapons. You need a little bit more. You need a little bit more skill to wield them. So a lot of these weapons, a wizard couldn't even dream of using unless they somehow multi-class
Or an elf.
have a specific reason why
Racial trait.
because of race. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll start at the top, I guess, because the numbers kind of get crazy as we go. We'll stop. We got a battle axe. It does
Okay,
1d8 slashing, and it's versatile. So you can go up to
and then
d10.
Yep. That is a heavy. No, not. It's a versatile weapon.
Yes.
Hmm.
So you can use it one-handed or two-handed to make it 1d8 or 1d10.
What's the next one you got?
Flail. That's a d8
I believe-
bludgeoning,
Correct.
and then it's boring.
Yep. Give me the next one, but don't tell me what it does.
Glaive.
That is a D8.
No.
No, I don't know what a glaive is.
It's a d10 slashing.
Damn.
It's two-handed. It gives you reach, and it's a heavy weapon. So when you have reach, it's actually you get an extra 5 feet in your melee range. So
Correct.
at normal range, you're within any box that's within 5 feet of you, which be just an adjacent box. if you're 2 boxes away, you could hit that person.
That's crazy. That changes the tides of a large combat real
True.
quick.
Yep. You have the Great Axe. This is probably the one you want to talk about.
That one's D12.
Yep.
Right? That's the big bad. That one's heavy and two-handed. It cannot be thrown unless you have a nice DM who wants to share it, but go, sure, I'll let you try that. This is typically your barbarian bread and butter, your min-maxer. I want to do a lot of damage possibility. It's a good weapon to have, but you can tell more stories with other weapons that you can be given and not worry about max damage. I do love me a great axe, though.
Yeah, I do too. Well, if you grab a specific feat, you can re-roll damage sometimes. If you roll a 1 or a 2 on the die, that could be a really important...
Great weapon master.
A really important feat to take that would help with a barbarian. So keep that in mind.
You got a cool DM so you can take that feat.
Take that feat at 4th level. So Tater, just keep that in mind. Next up is the greatsword. I would say the greatsword is the opposite of the great axe. It's like I could do just as much damage as you, but I'm gonna be a little bit safer about it because it's 2d6 rather than a d12. So you can roll the 2d6 and possibly get better chances of having high numbers. But you can get the lowest you can get is 2 as well. You're not getting a 1.
You're low, correct.
So you're always getting 2 or more damage.
The odds would be better in your favor, technically.
Yes. It is also a heavy and 2-handed weapon.
Correct. So you cannot do other things with your other hand. You have to have both hands on the weapon. It is a beautiful game, Disto. It's been ages since I played The Witcher, so I'm confused as to what I'm doing. Yeah, I've done that before. I'll jump into a game like, I don't remember what to do.
Yeah, I've had that issue plenty of times. Moving on, we got the Halberd.
That one has reach.
It does have reach. Go ahead.
I was going to say D10.
You're right.
Yes. Heavy
D10 slashing, heavy 2-handed reach weapon.
I gotta put my plate away, my friend.
All right, I'll move on to the next one. We have the Lance. A Lance is a D12. It's a special type weapon. Only specific characters can hold this weapon. It also has reach, and it does a D12 piercing. I just said that. But the special part we'll talk about. The weapon with the special property has unusual rules governing its use, explained in the weapon's description. See weapons later in the section. So if I go over to Lance. Where is it? Where's the Lance? There it is. You have disadvantage when you use a lance to attack a target within 5 feet of you. Also, a lance requires 2 hands to wield when you aren't mounted. So, pretty cool weapon, but there's specific things that need to be done to use it. We have the long sword.
A D8 slashing, and it isn't also another versatile weapon, giving it a D10 when you use it with 2 hands. So it's not heavy, and it also does not require 2 hands. The next one does require 2 hands. It's quite possibly another favorite among barbarians trying to not use a great axe. The Maul, doing 2d6 bludgeoning, heavy 2-handed, as I said. Once again, you're only rolling a 2 if you roll 2 once.
Right. Morningstar. This is actually a fun one, just to play with. Yeah, for flavor. It's just, I think it's a D8 piercing. It has nothing like special about it. No properties. It's just a weapon that you swing around and hit people with.
Yep. Moving on, you've got another heavy two-handed reach weapon. You've got the Pike, a D10 piercing. So you've got extra reach. I would say it's a big spear. Think
It's a longer
Trojan
spear.
warriors.
Yeah.
Whoomp.
But this one is not a special weapon, so you don't need to have special requirements. So you kind of get away with less damage, but you get away with more out of it.
Mm-hmm. Now we're getting into the other finesse weapons for your martial classes. This is ones that you might get from being an elf, like the short sword, the scimitar, and the rapier.
Yeah, these are the fun ones. These are the fun ones when you're a ranger or a
rogue. When you're a rogue,
yeah.
Yes, sir. So your scimitar and your short sword both do a d6 slashing. They are finesse, and they are also light. They are light martial weapons, which I think there are only 2, and these are the ones.
Yep.
The rapier, which is a bigger dagger, is a finesse weapon. It does a d8, so bigger dagger, d8 as opposed to a d4. You just can't throw it because it's big. Think a fencing is typically what I think of when I think rapiers.
Right, so you would use, if you were a two-handed weapon fighter, you could use the scimitar and the short sword together. Or you could use 2 scimitars, or you could use 2 short swords. Or you could use a short sword and a dagger. Or a club and a short sword and a scimitar.
Or a sickle.
Anything with the light property, you can use two-handed. I mean, like 2 separate hands. Not two-handed, 2 separate hands.
Right. Offhand.
Correct.
Because you've got main hand, offhand.
But when you use 2-weapon fighting, you don't have an offhand at that point.
Exactly. Moving on to a fun weapon that I gave to Thundercat. The Trident is a fun weapon. It's a D6 piercing. It's a thrown weapon, so it's got 20 to 60 feet, and it's also versatile. So you can put your second hand and ram somebody for a D8 worth of damage.
Yep, I did enjoy that one. We'll talk about that later, though.
Oh yeah, we've got a war pick, which does a D8 piercing. Boring. It's a big mining pick. The Warhammer, 1d8 bludgeoning, or if you use it 2 hands, it's versatile, 1d10. And moving on to quite possibly one of my favorite weapons that's underutilized is the whip, because it's a finesse weapon.
I was gonna say also a finesse weapon.
Reach. And it's got reach.
Yeah.
So you can do some cool indie shit and get your sneak attack. So
cool.
Yeah, you would get your sneak attack if you're attacking a dude who's attacking somebody else, and you just pull out the whip and whoosh.
Moving on to the martial ranged weapons, we have the blowgun.
Yeah, 25 feet to 100 feet, and you have to load it.
1 piercing
ammunition.
Damage.
Yep, it does a piercing. Typically, that
poison
one,
on it.
You'll have your and then force him to save.
Hand crossbow.
Those are fun. Think a little handgun. D6 worth of piercing, 30 to 120 feet. It's light, so you can use it in an offhand, but it does require loading. So bear that in mind.
Your heavy crossbow.
2 hands. Certainly not wielding that with 1 hand. It's heavy. It requires loading. It's got a range of 100 to 400 fucking feet. It's got deadly accuracy. Not as much as the guided heat seeker rockets from a longbow.
It does 1d10 damage, though.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. 1d10. And then the longbow does 1d8. However, it's heavy two-handed, but it's got a range of 150 feet to 600. It kind of breaks my mind a little bit how much range that fucking thing has.
Well, yeah.
I think it's a little OP, but it's a bow.
It's still a disadvantage, at least. Up to 600.
And then the last one, the thing that you can buy nothing but in Port Nyanzaru, the net. It's a special weapon. It's got a thrown reach of 5 to 15 feet. What's so special about the net?
A large or smaller creature hit by a net is restrained until it's freed. A net has no effect on creatures that are formless or creatures that are huge or larger. A creature can use its action to make a DC 10 strength check, freeing itself or another creature within its reach on a success. Dealing 5 slashing damage to the net AC 10 also frees the creature without harming it, ending the effect and destroying the net. When you use an action, bonus action, or reaction to attack with a net, you can make only one attack regardless of the number of attacks you can normally make.
So yes, if you try to net things, you can only do it once, and they can try to break free.
But not until their turn.
That is correct.
Yes,
And I
they can
think
use
that's
their
everything.
action.
That's all the weapons. Weapons are kind of cut and dry. It's when you start adding magic to them when they start getting a little bit more interesting.
Yes, true. Now, before we get into the magical stuff now, let's talk about like reskinning some of these into like early game stuff for flavor reasons. Your character is a specific type of character and you want this type of weapon, but it's not in the book. What would you do?
Give me a scenario. Oh, you ready? So I'm playing a monk. I want nunchucks.
Okay.
What are you gonna do?
I would probably reskin like the club.
There it is. That's what I was like, yeah, just reskin the club. It's super easy. Just think
Light,
about the damage.
two hands. You can do two of them.
Yep.
With one hand.
Yep.
I was thinking, Leonardo has 2 swords, but they're not short swords, right? But they are short swords, but they're not.
I would call them katana. I would call them katana.
I would call them katana, but have the short sword properties.
Exactly. There's no difference. Like a sai is a dagger.
What about my spindle disc that I wanted to do? Basically the yo-yo.
Your yo-yo? What did I have that do? I had it to do a D4, right?
I think it was a D4.
Yeah, it was a D4. I made it a whip. Because to use a yo-yo accurately and want to like hit somebody with it in a restraining factor, I was like, I'd probably say that's a whip. Give it a little, give it that reach property.
I wasn't even trying to restrain him. I was just trying to knock him in the face with it. So having the reach was nice because I could. It would be what I would do. Like
that's the same thing I wanted to do with like a Ghost Rider chain. I would make it a whip.
Yeah.
It's just heavy. It's not light. It's heavy. That's the thing that I would change immediately. It's a heavy weapon that you can't offhand.
Two-handed weapon.
Oh,
yeah.
One hand. You're Ghost Rider. You have the one-handed whip, but
would you make it versatile if you use 2 hands?
No. I'd be like, why are you using a whip with 2 hands? You just want a whip that's a chain. Yeah.
Well, no. What it is you have to hold this end and then use this end, like.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't even begin to think about that. I'd just be like, no. It's a heavy whip. Keep it simple. Stupid.
Now, what about a pitchfork?
Trident. I would let you throw a pitchfork. Brick Tamlin.
I would, yeah. Oh, yeah, a D6 would probably be good. I don't think you could throw it 60 feet. It'd probably be like 10, 20.
Nope. I mean, I'm just reskinning it. I was like, what's got a range of 10, 20?
I don't know.
Yeah. I honestly, if you were trained to use this pitchfork, I would be like, yeah, sure.
Listen, I've tried to throw a pitchfork before. You can only throw it like 10 feet.
Get better at throwing a pitchfork.
There's no way I'd be able to throw a pitchfork 60 feet and have it like land with the.
Well, I'm sorry, Thundercat. Your adventuring days are over. If you want to use a pitchfork,
I would just use it as. I'd use it as a 2-handed weapon instead and just thrust it. All right. Improvised kind of weapon here. What would you do if someone was using a torch?
1 point of damage and the target catches fire. they take a d6 worth of fire damage because you're bonking them with the torch. It does a damage. It's gonna put your fire out, and then they potentially could catch fire depending on what it is. If it's living matter, it's less apt to do it depending on. I'll ask you where you're hitting them, and be sly about it. But if you're aiming for like clothing or trying to catch them on fire, I'll allow it. I think that's kind of funny. So yeah, it's a no deck save. You'd have to hit them. Does a point of damage. They catch fire. They take a d6 worth of fire damage until they go with their action.
I don't
Been
know what
there, done
else.
that.
I know they've
Captain America
decided.
shield.
Shield. Well, you get the +2 bonus to armor when you held it.
Right. So you transfer that over to attacking with it?
Well, it's thrown.
Yep.
And that would be probably 2060.
Accurate. I'll give you that.
D6 damage, bludgeoning.
Yep.
Unless Captain America's throwing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with Captain America, he's super strong as it is, so he's got that +5/+6.
Yeah.
He's a real fucking strong motherfucker.
Right.
So 11 points of damage, and then
I feel like
activate
there'd be like he'd have like a class option that was like to like throw extra strength into it, because I mean, some of those kicks that he does to people, like, that's extra strength. That's like...
Oh, absolutely.
He kicks people so hard that, like, they go flying. Like, I know he has super...
Like, when he bonks it off of one person, catches it, and just woof.
Yeah.
That second attack. I
feel like there'd be a bonus or something that he could do.
I would give it, like, depending on if you hit the second time, I would give it a +2 of damage, and then the third time, depending on if he's a straight fighter, give it like a stack of an extra damage for each time he hits with the shield, because he's catching it as it's coming back to him.
Yeah, it's third attack, fourth attack. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's neat.
And it always comes back because it's Cap Shield.
Yep, until he misses. Or someone catches it. Or
Well,
until
he
throws
misses.
it at a monk and they go, funk.
Yeah, he misses and then it comes back anyway. Because it bounces off the wall somehow and angles into his... I don't know how it works.
Like I said, though, until he throws it at that one monk and they go, this is mine now.
Right.
You'll get this back after we're done.
They have to beat the damage, though.
Yeah. Which potentially could be done, depending on the level of monk. You could just go, oh, I catch that with my level.
The third turn, maybe. Might have
the third turn, the fourth turn, probably they'd be a little bit different.
Cool. I don't know if there's anything... Like, we get... That's... Now I think we're starting to get into, like, magical... weapons at that point.
See, you like that? Because Cap Shield is not magic. It's just made of vibranium, and he's super smart and knows where to throw it.
He knows angles. He can calculate the numbers in his head faster than you can move.
He played a lot of pool in the 40s.
Yeah,
exactly. He's the Flash. All right, so hold on. I want to throw something in here because weapons and you, we didn't give any love to our spellcasters. An arcane focus is as much as a weapon as a fucking battle axe or a goddamn dagger. So you can go with what the book suggests.
I'm stopping you right here. We talked about spells. We gave the spellcasters plenty of love.
But we're not giving them any love for weapons. They're gonna ask, what's an arcane focus?
Go look at the wizard and tell me what's weapons they can use, and we'll talk about those weapons.
A quarterstaff, and they get an arcane focus. What is he?
Or a dagger.
What? Yeah, and a sling. Don't forget about the sling. You want to include it.
Or a light crossbow.
They can use a light crossbow?
I'm pretty sure they can.
I don't know.
But yeah, they're fine. We'll talk about their spells again. We'll talk about their stuff. I wasn't talking about the spells.
Just the focus. Like, you can go, like, most of them say, like, an orb or a wand or something. Get creative. Gandalf didn't have a wand. He had, like, a little crystal on the top of his stick, which was neat.
And he had a sweet pipe that went into the stick.
Yeah, that was a fucking sweet pipe. You've got other, like, crystal balls that you can just with. Talk with your DM, just flavor it. it's yours. This is what you're gonna cast through. If you want it to be a cool looking ring that you go woo through every time.
You could always get a new one during the campaign too. You can always switch them. So I always think that's a pretty cool idea. If you find a cool gem or a cool trinket that you're like, this is now my spell focus.
Mm-hmm. I would have done it with the puppet from Strahd.
And you hold it up like, go.
Ooh, I don't think it's too cold. I think it's too cold in here. Fireball.
All right, so do we want to talk about like choosing said weapon as your player, like, or do we want to just go into magical weapons now?
So let's talk about picking. So like setting the bar for your campaign, like picking your weapon. I want to talk about that a little bit first, because that sounds like because I always think about that as I start playing a new character, because a cleric with a quarterstaff says a lot. A barbarian with a battle axe says a lot. A dwarf fully clad in chainmail wielding a club, that screams a story to me, because I want to know why is it adorned in this chainmail and it has a stick? That raises all kind of questions. You can tell a story without telling a story by picking just the right weapon. Do you want to elaborate, or let me keep going?
I thought you were gonna keep going.
I can keep going. But yeah, like monks have kind of like that freedom of ability, because they can say it was a monk tool and flavor it like a nunchuck or a spinny dagger, like I did for the Barondeer game, because that was just a dart that I spun around in my hand and I stabbed people with. Brass knucks kind of broke it. But it's weird, like it's the off pairings of things. Like if you have a wizard who's going into battle with a sword, as opposed to your cliche book in quarterstaff adorned wizard, that speaks a lot to me. Like in the upcoming game starting on October 1st on Fridays at 8:30 to 9 o'clock on this channel, I'm playing a Peace Cleric Minotaur. Marinate on that for a second. I did say Minotaur and Peace Cleric. I wield a quarterstaff, and I believe it was a hand axe, because I like to carve things. That tells the story of why I have a quarterstaff. I don't believe in, traditional violence, but if you step a little out of line, I might rap you on the knuckles a couple times so you step back into line. Simple as that. It's little things that go a long way in D&D. It's those little bitty, as a person talks, or the hand gesticulations as someone's getting really excited. And a weapon can do that too, with just because it's real. I want to say it's real hard to try and knock someone unconscious with a great axe, if you're trying to get things done in a non-lethal format.
Yeah, I have to hit him with the pommel.
Exactly.
But if I walk over with my club, because I don't intend on killing that many people, I can kill someone with the club if I want to. But I can say, no, this is going to be non-lethal damage. I want to knock him out and wrap him right on the Jack Johnson with the little knocker to the forehead. You'll be sleeping for an hour.
Like, as Thundercat said, the little spindle disc, the yo-yo that his cleric wanted to use, I was like, that's neat. I've never seen a yo-yo used in a game. Sure, let's see how this works. Let's see how quick it takes to break it. Because if it breaks it after soon, players remember that ultimately the DM will say, hey, it does a lot of damage. And that's them saying, could you try to use that less? And then if you don't, they might have some rust monsters to try and I've seen it before. There was a meteor sword. It you could do like a fireball, and it did stupid amounts of fire damage on top of being able to cast fireball. I was like, ooh, that's I would not give that to my players. I would give that to a bad guy, and then when the bad guy dies, it dies. That was a gift from a devil. You don't get that. It's one of those things like that has a lot of damage potential, and that will throw off my entire combat. if I'm playing it for like damage.
I think that there's gonna be specific classes in this player's handbook that we have already talked about it, but they have, like, the barbarian can literally wield any weapon, but then but the wizard can only wield 4 of the 20 weapons that are there. So
Correct.
So at that point, like you saying, like the holy symbol, yeah, I get it. But we talked about spells. But at that same point, as me, I'm playing a wizard. I'm gonna make what I can out of those 4 weapons that I'm allowed. I'm going to.
Don't forget that you could be also an elven wizard or a dwarven wizard who might know how to use other
weapons, exactly. Because of your racial features, you can use other weapons. But I'm playing a halfling wizard.
Nope.
So I do not. Yeah, I do not get to do that. Well, I get that. I get the brave feature, and I also get ghost. I'm a ghostwise one, so I can talk to people telepathically.
I already hate you.
You're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me so much. Except you won't hate me because I'm gonna make sure that everyone is like at their best in every fight, in every situation. You're gonna be like, oh wow, thanks for that. Thanks for making me feel better. But yeah, I'm allowed daggers, darts, slings, and quarterstaffs, and light crossbows. So I'm going to have a quarterstaff as a halfling wizard. I mean, it's going to be like it's a small stick.
What's your spellbook going to look like, though?
Oh, well, that's different. I can't talk about that yet.
Ah, okay. All right.
That's
fair enough.
That's specific for the campaign. We'll talk about that in session 0, which we'll also be putting on YouTube as a preview / trailer for our upcoming game, October 1st, Fridays, between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. We'll be starting. So yeah, I'll be using a quarterstaff and a light crossbow. I think I took.
Yep.
That's. No, I just have a quarterstaff. I don't even get the light crossbow. I have to buy it.
Yep. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure you don't get one because that's why I've never used one.
It's a dagger or a quarterstaff.
Yep.
It's funny. I should have taken a dagger because it's finesse, but I felt like walking around with my quarterstaff and people thinking that I am a wizard when I look so crazy looking.
I just find it funny that your quarterstaff is like twice the size of you, and like I could put my hand on it.
Yeah.
And, like we could walk together, and I would just I would have a quarterstaff that I use as a walking stick.
Right.
That's why because I was thinking about it. I was like, I'm like 6'8".
Yeah, your quarterstaff will go up past your head probably.
Yep.
So then your quarterstaff's like 3 of me. My quarterstaff is like half of you.
Yep.
Or a third of you. Sorry, a third of you. So I mean, I guess choosing that weapon though to create your character can really show what you're planning on doing, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, Peace Cleric. I don't plan on hurting people unless I have to knock them out and then wake them up and be like, "Hey, you done did it bad," and then knock them out again. Did you learn your lesson? I
don't even use a weapon unless I need to, and it's it's a little stick. That's all it is.
That'll be when people get near little buddy.
Yeah, I'm a buff wizard, so everybody around me is going to be strong enough to take care of me. I plan on making you guys all stronger so I can stand in the middle and you protect me. I can hide behind my Goliath because I'm little.
Yeah, because I put a little bit of thought into I was like, I'm a peace cleric. I'm probably not even going to be your atypical cleric. As after I picked my skills, I was like, I'm not even proficient in religion. That's great. I love this.
Yeah, it's kind of a different kind of cleric. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I was like, you know what? I think my little holy symbol is going to be something that I carved into my shield.
All right. Let's go to our past experiences with weapons. because this will be
Okay.
kind of about magical weapons as well. We don't need to necessarily get into all of the magical weapons. That's we
The
could do we can do that on like an item day.
Are we talking as a player or as a DM? First off, are we going to talk from that perspective of giving a player a magical item?
No, we're talking about an item day where we just talk about
Okay.
the items.
Okay.
Cool. So we'll talk about magical weapons as our items for that week, like we did with the deck of many
About
things.
that. Yeet.
So we'll talk about our past experiences with magic weapons or special weapons or selecting different weapons. We talked about earlier Wave, my trident that I got from the
White Plume Mountain.
White Plume Mountain module, the dungeon, yes.
Yep.
And
classic Funhouse dungeon.
Yeah, it became such a part of my character that I was doing things because Wave thought I should. Choosing like it wasn't even me choosing the weapon. The weapon kind of chose me, but it was because of the way my character was, I guess. He was a sentient trident that talked in a dwarven accent. I had a brother that was also a weapon, but it wasn't really his brother. It was just like they were made together by the same person, so their dad was the magic caster, basically. And he had such a sad story of how he got turned that it made my character really work hard to fix everything that happened with him, while also trying to fix what was going on in his own life. He was trying to fix what was going on with the Trident, who became like his most trusted friend. He would go and sit in his room and sit with him on his lap and just talk to him about anything that was bothering him. So it was one of those, like, I wasn't trying to pull too much information from the game and like use it to get information about the story. It was more about trying to pull information from Wave about his story. Like, I could have used it differently. I could have been like, so what do you think I should do next with this big issue that we're having? And see what the DM gives me, like, and hope that it might be something that pushes our story forward or whatever. But
Wave nothing.
Yeah, but I was more going along the lines like, hey, Wave, I'm having this issue, and I was really hoping that I could get some like some advice from you.
Not wrong.
I did really like that. Was like a big moment in my characters. Like,
it was one of my favorite things to write at 2:00 in the morning. I was like, I'm gonna make something sad and depressing because it's 2:00 in the morning. I have nothing to watch. I'm out of writing. Fuck. I'm depressed. Let's write some depression. And then I wrote down that story, and then you asked, and I was like, all right, I get to read the depressing story. Yay.
I fixed them.
You did.
I fixed
them.
them.
And then he left.
And then I lost Wave forever, and it was like I was like
that was my favorite thing. I was like,
I was so sad.
You fixed him. And
I was so sad.
I watched the disappointment in your face because you were just like, Wave? And then it said nothing. And then I watched just the beard go, like, just grow so many gray hairs that it has now because it was just, what did I do?
There was like the tears in my eyes. I was so sad. I was like, Wave's gone. I'm like, my best buddy is gone. Like, I have no one. I had to go and talk to Steph's character, Navi.
Yep.
Because I was sad.
You had to deal with problems again.
I was sad. I was like, help me. I'm sad. Wave's gone.
I've used a lot of I've been sitting here thinking about it, and I've used a lot of fucking magical weapons. So, I'm gonna say probably 3 of my favorites. One was the second time I used the Staff of the Archmagi. because I got to use it as a god PC technically. And I went, this can do nothing but all kinds of damaging stuff. And then I went, oh, I can burn all the charges on stupid shit and then just use my reaction and be like, nope. Oh, it was the best. That is probably one of the most powerful like wizard items you could get because it does so much. Something that Knocker gave me, the crossbow guitar, that was a personal fit. The El Kabing, like you biding, and it shoots out an arrow. And then one of my favorite, like I know I didn't want to talk about it as a DM, but it's still one of my favorites because I gave someone an El Kabong because I had Kabing that shot a guitar, like shot an arrow. This was a guitar that every time you hit somebody, it would explode and do like the wrestling explosion, like guitar hit. And then all of a sudden you'd pull it back and you'd have a working guitar. It was a guitar of mending. I called it El Kabong. It was probably one of my favorite things to see used because I was like, oh, it's so funny. And they enjoyed it. So I was like, all right, yes, that's a twofer. But probably I'd have to say Screech is my all-time favorite thing because that was
we talked about him a little bit early in a different episode.
Yeah, sentient weapon. Well, a not normally sentient weapon that you made sentient and had just names for bugs, and I thought it was the funniest thing. And I was like, well, just keep talking like, oh yeah, Baron here loves bugs. Boom, let's see how many friends you got there, Screech. The fact that I was trying to become a druid and a monk because I wanted to eventually just do like an octopus loaded amount of punches, and I had this to help me. I was like, all right, yeah, we can roll with this. And it turned out to be in like Thundercat's wave. Like I like chit-chatting with Screech, and like in my head I was like, I wonder if like all these bug names were like people in his town that were like I never asked because Barondeer didn't give a shit.
Yeah, you never got like the backstory. You knew he was created by a druid, and that was it. And the druid gave him the name Screech, and that was all you knew.
Yep, Barondeer was like, "All right, sweet. I'm gonna use you to hit things or summon bugs. I like you. What's your name, Screech?"
Puma dug in a little bit more, and that's how you found out that he had like an owner before you and another owner before him. Yeah,
Barondeer was dead. Who cares? Puma didn't exist. And then it went from Barondeer to something that happened, and then I wished people onto a mountain, and then I was a turtle, and it was amazing. Everyone hates Gad. Notorious. I had a character who became the devil, and people liked the devil more than that fucking turtle.
I know.
Really?
I like Gad. I like Gad better than Kador 100%. Kador can suck a dick, man. That guy is the worst ever. He's the worst ever. He's the worst ever. Oh man, what a great villain! I created a fucking monster.
You did.
It's all my own fault. It's all my own fault. I should have never fucking said, like, not knowing anything about D&D, really. I was like, let's co-DM a fucking campaign. And then Pat was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to take over from here. And they used all of the shit that I used that I made against us. And I was like, motherfucker.
Oh, it was a fun campaign.
You wrote Mephistopheles into the game? Guess who's Mephistopheles now? The character I created.
Well, you killed, first of all, let's get this straight. You killed Mephistopheles, all right? Y'all got rid of that problem, and then I became the problem. And that was perfectly fine. And then I went further up in the chain because I was like, why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't I? I'm the DM, and I can make my head PC do whatever the fuck I want.
I took it all away from him, and then I gave him a gun. And then I gave...
And then you were real nice to us as the guy with the gun, and we were like, oh, maybe we could fix this guy. And then nope, it was the whole opposite. We fixed the fucking problem, and it made the problem worse.
Honestly, like half of that story, like I rolled dice, and I was like, let's see who he finds in the Underdark. And I found bad people, and I was like, all right, cool. Well, neat.
That's Dungeons and Dragons, y'all.
That's right. You think you get a happy ending? No, you're stuck in a fucking snow globe.
All right, I want to talk about another weapon / not really a weapon that was mine. The turtle shell.
Mm.
We
I got
killed
that from a monster hunting thing on DM's Guild.
we killed the turtle right when we got to the. It was like one of the first battles we had as a group. It was on the beach right outside Port Nianzaro. I remember it, and I was like, oh man, I want this turtle shell. Imagine how big a giant turtle is to a gnome. Like that shell is humongous. You're like, that's way too big for you. I was like, yeah, I just need to cut out a spot out of it, maybe one of like the circles in it. And you're like, okay. So I spent the night cutting out the back of the shell, and we had some good turtle meat we ate, and I had a piece of turtle shell that I had to go find someone that could make a shield for me.
Not gonna lie, you taking Druidcraft made that fucking campaign for me because I was like, all right, now I need to roll all of the fucking weather in advance. I rolled.
I didn't take Druidcraft. I was given it from my my background, my subclass.
Mm-hmm. I was
the paladin thing.
Thank the Lord. You took it. You took it. You made the active decision.
You asked me. You gave it to me with the little spirit guy things.
Yeah, the little what was it? It was the spirit guardians from Princess Mononoke. The little things. The Chewingas. That's their fucking name.
Yes, those things. But yeah, we made, and then eventually I found someone that could create me a shield out of the turtle shell. Out of they were in the Enclave, those guys that were up in the Enclave, and I left it with them for like in-game months, 2 months I think it was, and we finally ran into them again randomly, and I was like, you have my shield? He's like, yeah, here it is. And I was like, yes. And I had a sweet turtle shield that gave me the +2 to defense, and it floated. So anytime we crossed water or anything, I just had to tie a rope to it and sit in it, and someone could just pull me across the river or across the lake or whatever. I'm pretty sure. You idiot. DD with the subscription.
DD. Not gonna lie, like as soon as I gave it the floating properly, I was like, I can't wait for you to just sit there like a little kid and just be like drug across.
I just had
the
Taben
river.
pull me across the river. He like tied the rope to his waist, and I just sat in it with my weapons.
Splash, splash, splash.
And then eventually I met Sal, turned Sal into my Stegosaurus buddy. Then I became his mount. He became my mount, and I sat on him and made a saddle that held my old wooden shield and my turtle shield on each side. So I had defenses while I was on top of him, mounted as a paladin, as a gnome. So this little like child is on top of a Stegosaurus with 2 shields. It was the most ridiculous like look in my head, because once again it's all 80s cartoon type images that I go through. It's basically a D&D cartoon. Like that's how I see D&D in my head. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good one. And mine's like GI Joe cartoon-esque drawing.
Yeah, no, I let you get away with a lot with that fucking dinosaur because I was like, it ain't getting in the tomb.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, there was only 3 of us in a campaign that's written for 5 people without 5 people without special abilities. Like you had to give us Taben. You had to we needed an NPC that always was with us. Yeah, like
that's the guide is a part of the book. I gave you Taben because you guys, it made sense to me. I wanted to give you Sal because I knew I was going to bring in Baron Deer 2.0 into the campaign to kind of like subtly hint it to you, like this is how I'm going to be. And then I turned and I made it so we could talk. And I thought that was great because that would be something that Baron Deer did. That was funny.
Sal became like a weapon for us, though, if you think about it at that point. Like
seriously, look at that book, and like I kind of stayed true to it. It's just the guides I kind of took liberty and then I let you guys sail around the island. That was when I was like, nope. Yeah, I want to get to the tomb. There's
a lot of stuff that, as a DM, you can change and put in and put out and pull from other things and put in instead.
We want to try and find a boat. Oh, well, you can't find any. Sorry.
Right.
Or you do, and it's like $2,000 worth of gold to sail around the island because there's no port.
I think
it's
as
something ridiculous. Yeah.
I don't know. I think as A.
I think it's a B.
Oh.
I think his keyboard malfunctioned.
All right. I think we're in pretty good shape for the weapons. I talked about a couple of my past favorite stuff. I don't know if there's anything. It sucked because when I changed from Tacklin to Can-Do, Tacklin had just gotten like the hammer, the dwarven hammer, and Andy got the armor. So it was like I was giving up a lot from a character to play a new character, but it was, once again, I play D&D for the story. I play it for the role play, and combat is just extra to me. I think combat's like the little like cherry on top of the game.
Cherry.
Yeah, and I enjoy combat. It's just in combat I'm a different type of player. I'm not in role playing and in when we're talking and we're trying to figure out stuff. It's different to me. It's a different type of game. Because combat,
yeah, I mean,
is paper and pen and like numbers and stuff. When roleplay is just like straight up, we can figure it out as we go. Hopefully, we can roll a dice and get the right outcome.
DM Patrick and Thunder polar opposites. Never played with him to be fair, but think Patrick actively seeks out way to screw you. Well, it's not. It is a little. It's simply the cause and effect system. I'm gonna say it right now.
Patch is a great DM. You need to know how to use his DM style to your benefit. Mm-hmm. There's things that he does that I won't do. There's things that I do that he won't do, and that's true to every DM. There's things that every DM will do that I won't do. There's things that Patch will do that other DMs won't do. There's a lot extra that goes along with it, and like I said, you can use Patch's DM. I'll do it all. You can use Patch's DM style to your advantage if you understand how he looks at things. There's been times where I'm like, listen, man, I want to do this, and I tell him straight up, like, my guy's here. I want to try to get there by doing this run move. I want to slide off the side of here and then come up this way. Go for it. See what you can do. Like,
roll this.
That's fine. And if you do well enough, he's going to let you do it. But like I said, there's consequences to everything. His consequences are a little bit worse than mine normally. But that's because he's trying to throw a narrative in there. He's trying to show description and different things that can happen. My descriptions in combat are a lot harder for me to get out. So I let a lot of stuff go, and we kind of...
You're not wrong, Fuzz. Thanks for the lurk, Teal.
Yes, thank you.
So it's a little bit. It depends on if. So I'll be real. If I have some bad guys coming up who are like actively watching the players and they don't know, I'm gonna have I'll know some of their tactics, and they're gonna get mad at me, and they're gonna go, "Why? How did you know that?" And I'll go, "Sorry." Thank you. Did the townsfolk mind your gaming site is parked in the middle of the road? A little bit. But fuck them. I pay rent here.
Good thing he's not shooting off fucking fireworks. The guard be coming after him.
I'll just shoo him away. 20 charisma. But yeah, it's one of those things that like it's my cause and effect. I like having. I've kind of gotten a little bit easier on newer players because you don't want to discourage them from playing, but I'm the meat grinder DM. I'm the one who says, okay, we're gonna do this. Bring 5 characters. I'm sorry, 5? Yes, bring 5 characters. I'm gonna murder at least 2 of them.
But he's not doing it. He's telling you this out loud because he's not actively trying to kill your character. It's just that the dungeon that you're going into is hard.
It's gonna be difficult.
If you don't work together as a team and use all of everything you have to your advantage in your character sheet or whatever, then you're probably gonna die. I've TPK'd people. I've killed Patch multiple times. So like you don't want to TPK a group. That's like the least wanted thing as a DM. But it happens.
I never want to TPK. But it happens. And
to show new players how the game can, like, you can't do everything. Some games you can't just go around murdering the whole town. It's gonna catch up to you. Murder hobos normally don't make it very far if they're just there to fight and kill things.
If you want to play a murder hobo game, that's perfectly fine. Say it to me, because if I'm throwing you narrative and you want to play murder, I'll play murder. You don't want me to play murder because I have a whole book that's nothing but murder. You have a little section in a book that's murder. Sorry, continue.
And and we're not actively out here trying to hurt the party, kill the party, TPK. We're here to push. We're here to challenge, push you to your limits. There's gonna be easy fights. There's gonna be difficult fights. There's gonna be easy encounters. There's gonna be difficult encounters. There's gonna be counters that you should not even be in. And we're gonna be like, listen, you see a large shadow looming in the sky. You're level 3, and it looks like it might have a blue tint to it. I'm running away because that's a blue dragon, and I'm okay with living another day as my character that I took 45 minutes to create, and now I have a backstory too because it's third level, and having an extra character is nice, but I want my characters to live, so there's times to run.
Yep.
And the DM will give you chances, whether he's a very hard DM or very easy DM. There'll be chances. There's chances.
Let's give a story. So I took over a little bit for DMing on the Sunday game. I let Tacklin pull the Avatar of Death from the deck of many things and get killed by it and live. I'm a nice DM. However, there are times when I throw Demogorgon at you and it tries to feeble mind and you don't leave the first time. It had a second one. So you should have ran, but you got lucky.
Once again, though, at that point where we were high level characters, so we think we can get away with a lot more, and we know our limits at that point. We know our limits as a team too. Third level, and you see Demogorgon show up, you're probably supposed to run away at this point, and it's a narrative issue. You know what I mean? It's a narrative thing at that point. Oh, your awesome city that you lived in and your guild hall has been destroyed by Demogorgon, but you got out because you were smart. Guess what the rest of the campaign's going to probably be about? You trying to get powered up and killing everything to get back to Demogorgon and get your city back, or kill him
Not
to
play Minecraft and make a new town.
Yeah, or avenge your family that died because of Demogorgon. Like, that's the stuff that the game's made for. And that's why they have really hard creatures in there.
That's why there are also hard dungeons, because some of these tough creatures made a place to challenge people. That's the thing I always remember. I'm like, this isn't me, the DM, throwing a hard dungeon. This is my big bad evil guy saying, there's something in here that can stop me. Try and get it. Go ahead and try. Yeah,
and I have my dungeon where I protect myself. I'm a lot smarter than you are as a in-game character. You come get me, and get by all of my minions as a lich. I'm a lich, and I own all these undead. Good luck with that. Or these are all my wizards that are the cult to me. Like,
could you imagine that lich? Oh, someone died and they left, and then all of a sudden they come back and they see Zombie Friend with their new PC. Like, fuck you, you're a dick.
Yeah,
I haven't done that.
That's pretty good, though. That's pretty good. Well, we had the vampire one where you had to go back with the other dwarf, and he's like, "Oh, is this the one? Is this your friend?"
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We got off track there, but it was a good convo, and I liked it. I liked the question.
It's a good question to have, because I mean, we do have vastly different ways of telling a story. I like to cater to my players, as I say. I mean, I will watch things and be like, oh, that's kind of neat. Like, I have a whole one shot for a complete different campaign for the Monday D&D group where the guy who was a god, Zaphod, lost his powers, and now he's gonna be an evil god because he's gonna get him back. And I've watched so much of the show that I pitched for like 3 months, so I won't say the name. And I'm gonna be the bad guy from that.
Oh my god!
It's Alan Tudyk, and it's fucking perfect because I was like, I'm gonna narrate people, and they're gonna hate me.
Oh my god! It's Doom Patrol, guys. Go check it out, HBO Max.
HBO Max, new season starts on the 23rd. But you should also check us out on October 1st. We're playing D&D. I'm playing a Peace Cleric Minotaur. Wrap your brains around that.
And I'm playing a Halfling Wizard.
DD's gonna be there. He's playing stuff. I don't know his name.
I don't either. I don't think he gave one yet.
Yeah, DD.
Oh, he might have. I don't remember it. All right, so yeah, that was a pretty good conversation today. I'm pretty happy with it. Next week we are talking about potions. It's going to be an item week. We're going to talk about all the different kinds of potions that you can create, that are in the books, that are healing potions, fire potions, all of them. Strength potions.
Yes. Professor Snape will be there for potions class. Hope to see you there.
Be there for that. Thursday night, nothing's going on. Unless we're in Discord. Sometimes we're watching wrestling or playing games, watching the show. Might catch us in there.
Show.
Fridays we'll be back at October 1st with the War for Garaxia. Vandal Zero will be the DM. We have Ossitator. We have Dysfunctional Dad. We have Beth, who is GM Patch Nasty's fiance. And we also have the two of us playing.
Hello.
In-game.
Players, we get to play.
Yeah,
yeah.
So you get to see the two DMs playing together. This doesn't happen often, and when it does, it's normally a big mess.
Yes, it is. It's going to be. I can't wait.
Normally a big mess. And then Saturday night is our team night. We will be playing games together as a team. All of this stuff starts around 8:30, 9 o'clock. And Monday night is our survival night with myself and DD. We are going to move on in the story, hopefully, of Green Hell. We are just absolutely getting bored of building, I think. We've just built and built and built, and now we have to move on and leave our place. It hasn't rained in 4 sessions that we've played. Not true. I didn't mean it like we're bored of building at that spot. There's nothing left for us to build. We were just out of stuff to build. We can't build anything else. And so, yeah, we're going to try to move on in the story with that. We don't know what's happening. We don't know how long we have left. We keep thinking that it's almost over and we could add another floor. Oh, man.
No. Move on the story, man.
We got to get to the forest so Disto can start playing with us again.
Nobody wants to see you build a guild hall. They want to see you do Dungeons and Dragons shit, bro. Come on, man. Fight the dragon. Go through the dungeon. Build a house.
And then next week we're back at 6:30 with potions. I would like to talk about Patreon. We're going to be adding some new stuff considering the D&D game. I will have all of us where we create our characters in there for Patreon. I will be adding the next 5 the next 5 dungeon talking D&D formats that we have, the outlines this month as well.
1, not 2, but 3, but 4, but 5.
5. I try to do 5 every month if we can. Or every other month, depending on how many we have. And then also, that big banner that's running across the top there, Extra Life. Hell yeah. We're raising money for those guys over there at Extra Life. What does that mean, Patch?
Oh, hi. Patch Nasty here. Extra Life. So what Extra Life is, it's a foundation that is the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. The hospital that we are directly funding is the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital of Maine Medical Center, which is about a 20 to 25 minute, depending on how fast you drive, up the road. They recently tweeted that, a lot of places are being hit by COVID once again with all these outbreaks and Delta variants. Go check out Zombo Force. but they're having a really hard time. So any amount is appreciated. $1, $5, $10 if you can. I know I've got special incentives that I have going on during my streams to help build that. I did a little bit of work over the last week. I've got a couple more streams to do a little bit more work. But yeah, kids can't wait, man. They need help.
We actually have another $25. Was it 15 plus 11 plus 10?
26.
$25. Another $25 that we have to put in. We got $10 last night donated directly to us, and then another 15 that we had from a couple weeks ago that we have to still put in there. So at some point, that will say $5.90, I believe.
But the big thing is to remember we've hit a couple of goals. We've hit the 500 goal for the team, and then we've hit my personal goal, which we smashed in the less than a month.
A week early.
A week early. So, $500 now we've collected. That is a Spoopy Time Variety Hour stream. It'll probably be longer than an hour. And then since everyone has been willing to donate, I've got some few selections for my hair color choices. I'm going to keep them Pokemon styled and keep them the first starters. So if you're in the Discord right there, give it a join so you can help us pick. The 3 hair colors that I will be putting up probably tomorrow after I get out of work. We're going to go with our starters. You get the pick between red and an orange for Charmander, a blue and light blue for Squirtle, or a blue and a green or a greenish blue for Bulbasaur.
I think it needs to be the orange red. I really think it needs to be the orange red.
I mean, it's not up to me. I get a vote. I have the emotes to do it, so make sure
I do get the vote too.
Yep. If you're in the Discord, you can certainly vote on it. And then, I have another little thing that will continue tomorrow because I've got 2 more spots for it. Do you want me to plug myself now?
Let's go.
Because we keep... All right.
Yeah, this is it. This is it.
All right. So tomorrow is Retro Night on my channel, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then I'll be back on Friday for the last Dingers for Dollars. And then back on the weekend, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the weekends, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times on the weekdays. Weekends are for comic books. Friday is baseball. Wednesday is retro. We're beating wrestling. Here's the thing, though. While I'm streaming, if you donate $25, and I've got 2 more spots left because TSO is playing, Wombat's playing, and NW Austin is playing, $25 gets you a spot in a special Extra Life themed-ish D&D game off stream. No cameras, so you get private time with Patch. For $25, you get to clickety-clack, roll to attack with Patch. You have to donate during my streams and my streams alone, because I'll get the notification. There it is. But yeah, $25 isn't much, and you get to learn how to play D&D. I feel kind of dirty about ransoming people for D&D, but it's for kids, so I don't feel that bad. They can't wait, and neither should you. Give me your money. Give it to kids. $25 tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do it.
2 spots left for you folks. And if you have never played D&D before, it might be a good way to learn.
So I'll give you a brief synopsis.
Or it'd be a good way for you to die at a TPK with GM Pat's Nasty.
So, here it is. So I wrote a little bit of it while I was at Canopy Lake Park. It's gonna help kids. Your aim is to help kids, and I have a map of the theme park. So just saying, I put a little bit into work of it, and I went on a lot of rides to do this. So I hope you guys are gonna have fun.
You make it seem like it was such a tough thing to do.
Oh, it was so terrible.
It was so difficult. I had to go on all these rides and eat cotton candy and fair food.
No, I had steak fries. I had steak and cheese fries. They were the best fucking thing ever. But yeah, no, it was an experience. I kind of want to translate it into D&D, especially with the Wilds Beyond Wilderlight or the Feywild shit coming out. It kind of is testing me to do that. But yeah, tomorrow 6:30 PS, I'll have massive turkey leg, please. Hopefully you can save it so you guys can have that. But yes, twitch.tv/GMPatchNasty, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on weekdays, weekends 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Thundercat, what do you got going on this week, buddy?
I will be back streaming tomorrow, probably around 1:30 p.m., 2 o'clock. Eastern. I will be on my stream, Thundercat 0420 on Twitch. We will be playing Lake. I will be continuing on the post office simulator. That's basically what it is. Postal worker. It's 1980s postal worker simulator. You get to meet all the cool, crazy people of the town, and I'm pretty sure you make some like sort of romantic picks during the thing. I don't know. I think that's how it works. But I'm still learning it, and it's been a quite interesting story. So tomorrow, between 1:30 and 2 o'clock, I should be starting. And then the rest of the week, I will be probably streaming Friday night late, probably around 9:30. And then Saturday, I will be with the Dysfunctional Gaming crew on this channel. And then Sunday night, we'll be back on, again, streaming on Thundercat.
Question for you there, Thundies.
Sure.
You said you recently downloaded it again, correct? Destiny 2?
Yes, I have it downloaded on my PS4.
Well, potentially we might be able to start. We could potentially start doing that on Sundays.
Sunday.
You and me,
It would be late.
Late?
Yeah,
Alright, so yeah,
I'll be.
probably after
It
I
would
wrap
be. If anything, it could be Saturday afternoons
There we go. That could
at
be a thing.
at like 5:30.
That's the good thing about Saturday and Sunday. I can change Superhero Saturday and then make it Sunday. Woohoo!
Yeah. So yeah, I'll be around probably Saturday to be able to do that, and then we could go over and team play games. That will work. That'll do, Pig.
All right, guy. So
I think that's what we got. I think that's all we got for this week. What do we have? I think we need to go over to our man Randy.
Oh, hi there. Hello. So, this one is one that I picked out that was kind of a fun one. It's from a good friend of mine. His name is JBJ. For those of you that don't know, we're not close with him, is John Bon Jovi. He has a little band here from Jersey. But this is a song for all you bounty hunters out there. It's all the same. Only the names will change every day. It seems we're wasting away. Another place where the faces are so cold. We drive all night just to get back home. 'Cause I'm a cowboy. On a phantom steed I ride. I'm wanted.
Wanted.
Dead or alive. Dead wanted.
Wanted.
Dead or alive. Boo doo 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 boo doo doo boo doo 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 boo doo 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 boo. Boo doo 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 boo doo 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 boo doo 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 boo doo 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 boo doo 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 boo doo doo. Sometimes I sleep. Sometimes it's not for days. The people I meet, they go their separate ways. Sometimes you tell the day by the bottle that you drink. And then times when you're alone, when all you do is think. 'Cause I'm Randy. On the phantom steed I ride. I'm wanted.
Wanted.
Dead or alive. Wanted.
Wanted.
One more time. Yeah. Dead or alive. Ooh, and I ride. Dead or alive. We've seen a million faces and we rocked them all. Thank you very much for coming out. Enjoy.
Bye, guys.
Balti Horse. It sounds like they're from Baltimore. Enjoy themselves. Randy
Switches, bye.
Randy.